The girls are constantly telling me their daddy is planning to kill us all. My oldest daughter's school has called me because she told them that their father was going to come and beat me with a baseball bat until I die.
These stories are insane, and they keep getting worse. She's convinced my children that I hide on their balcony and that you're going to kill us all. Sandra lives on a third-story balcony, so I have to climb up the building like Spider-Man. I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not climbing up her building.
I believe that my ex-husband is sexually abusive to my daughters. Both of my daughters have come home telling me that daddy is touching them in their private areas inappropriately.
I am not sexually abusing my daughters. My older daughter has leg pains. They're growing pains, and I will rub that pain out of her leg, and Sandra will take that to the worst scenario possible. Sandra tells everyone that I'm a child molester. She tells people at the school, the grocery store. Sandra has threatened calling my job and telling them that I'm a child molester.
My daughters come home saying that their food tastes funny and that they think daddy puts poison inside their food.
Sandra has accused me of putting poison in my daughter's food, feeding them moldy food, putting dirt in their pizza. This is absolutely insane.
My youngest daughter thinks daddy put something in her ice cream because it was originally pink and blue, and after it was red and blue. It tasted funny. She was very tired. Her tummy was hurting her.
Sandra is crazy, and it's just pathetic.
My youngest daughter has gone as far as saying she wishes she was dead because of daddy. She wants to kill herself. I believe that if my youngest one knew how to, she would. It's only a matter of time.
There's countless times where my daughter will come to me and she'll have a bruise, and my daughter will tell me, "Mommy says you put that there." It scares me to death that she could be framing me. I do think she's a horrible mother.
Is one parent making up these shocking stories and coaching their children to tell lies about the other? Sandra says there is no way her children could have made up a story like this one.
My oldest daughter said her father had taken 2 blankets, threw them over her, and then put her inside a garbage bag. She said that her father put rocks on her, and she felt like he threw her in the pool. My little one said, I looked in the tub. I heard noises, and I ran and got scissors. I cut the ropes in strings. And then there was rocks. One was on her sister's head, one on each hand, and one on her feet. Then Daddy came out of the room, and she got in trouble. When I think about that story, it scares the living out of me. There is no way any child can make up a story that detailed. I'm terrified that he's gonna successfully kill my daughters.
Well, you can see children wandering the neighborhood was just the beginning, and I am determined to get to the bottom of this mess because there are innocent children involved here whose lives could be in real danger. Joey says he hasn't had a normal conversation with his ex-wife Sandra in over a year. Can't promise today will be normal, but we are going to have a conversation. Sandra.
Yes.
You believe that you and your children's lives are in danger.
I do.
Tell me why. You believe that he's going to do what?
He's gonna kill us. My daughters come home on a regular basis saying how he plans to kill us all. And he's made death threats to me in the past.
And has he told you how he's going to do it?
Not to me directly, no, but every time they come home, it's a new story. It's something, every week it's something new. And it's just heartbreaking because how can a child constantly be making up this stuff? How can a child know about these things?
What has he told them he's going to do?
Well, once I had the school call me because they've apparently called CPS twice. And one of the things is she asked me, do you have somebody to check on you regularly? And I go, not really, what's up? And she goes, well, I'm concerned for your safety. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, because your daughters just told me how your ex-husband was going to beat you with a baseball bat until you died.
And you believe he's capable of doing that?
Oh, I do. I mean, during the marriage, he was abusive. So, without a doubt, yeah, no.
Did he ever try to kill you?
Not try to kill me, but he was abusive as heck. Like, he would hit me, and there was one time, there's a lot of worse incidents, but when I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, I wouldn't have an abortion, and he was punching me in the stomach when I was 6 months pregnant.
And you say the girls come home from his house with bruises and knuckle marks on their legs?
They do.
So Joey, what's the story here? Are you some kind of monster? Are you threatening to kill your whole family? Are you one of these people that we read about in the newspaper where some guy goes off the rails and winds up killing his whole family and then himself? Are you that guy?
I'm not that guy. Sandra's made countless crazy accusations against me, down to punching my daughters in the face, to forcing food in their mouth, to poisoning their food. It's just ridiculous. My kids come to me and tell me, I have a bruise, and my mommy said that you put it there. There's bruises on my daughter's knees that I found, and I asked my daughter, where did that come from? My mom said that you put it there. I'm not a monster. Sandra and I have had our back and forth. There was abuse in the relationship, absolutely, between the two of us. I'm guilty of the abuse with Sandra. She's guilty of that with me, absolutely.
You have an anger problem?
I have an anger problem to the point to where her saying all of this makes me angry. I'm not an angry person normally, but all of Sandra's accusations and her putting my name down constantly, it pisses me off beyond belief. She's talked to their school, she's talked to their teachers, the principal, parents at the school, and she's told me, I've told absolutely everyone I know that you're a child molester. Everybody. And that sickens my stomach. I love my daughters more than life itself. And for her to say that I would sexually abuse them is beyond me.
Have you touched your daughters inappropriately?
No, sir.
You said that he poisoned your daughter's ice cream. So I assume at that point you contacted the Poison Control Center. You took her immediately to the emergency room.
I didn't.
You did not seek treatment.
I did not.
And later, you blamed your monster kids for being late.
Oh, no, it wasn't their fault. No, not at all.
I know it's not their fault. I'm curious that you don't know it's not their fault.
No, I know it's not their fault. Yes.
Have you been aggressive with your daughters physically?
I have not.
Have you grabbed them?
I have not.
Did you poison your daughter's ice cream?
No, sir.
Okay, you said that he poisoned your daughter's ice cream.
I have. I've gone to him asking him the questions because my daughters have come home and this is what I hear on a daily basis. This is something, all these things.
Okay, so I assume at that point you'd contacted the Poison Control Center. You took her immediately to the emergency room.
I didn't.
Okay.
She said, well, no, because she said.
You believe that your daughter was poisoned by your husband, who you has said has made multiple threats to kill you all. She comes home and says, I think my ice cream is poisoned. You believe it enough to make an accusation on national television against your husband that he has poisoned your daughter, but you did not take her to the emergency room and you did not call the Poison Control Center.
I didn't. Here, sir. I only talked to her and then I asked her, whatever she said, I communicated with him. And everything that she said, you know, Daddy, open my ice cream. And then she's like, you know, she laid down and then she goes, I feel fine. And I'm like, are you sure?
Okay, eye contact here.
Sorry.
You've made an accusation against your husband on national television that he poisoned your daughter's ice cream. You've told it to us numerous times. We have it on a tape piece. Ice cream changed color. That you said he poisoned your daughter's ice cream. You told your neighbor about him poisoning your daughter's ice cream. You told us about him poisoning your daughter's ice cream. I assume you've told anybody that has ears that he poisoned your daughter's ice cream. But you did not even pick up the phone and call the Poison Control Center.
I did not.
You did not seek treatment.
I did not.
So do you really believe that the man poisoned your daughter's ice cream?
I don't know what to believe, honestly, sir.
Well, you believed it enough to make the allegation on national television.
I mean, I will state anything that my daughters have told me, yes.
When she sent me the message about the ice cream, she said that my daughter couldn't move. I told Sandra that I would send an ambulance to the house. I would send the police if my daughter needed help.
So your daughter had paralysis?
No, she said she couldn't move, but she was moving. I was watching her the whole time.
Did I offer to send an ambulance to your house?
I think you were cursing at me.
Are you a responsible mother?
I try the best that I can.
Well, if you believe that your daughter had been poisoned, a responsible mother, a reasonable mother in the same or similar circumstances would be expected to take action to protect their daughter's well-being.
They have taken a blood test through their doctor prior, because they've said it, but the time was too long that had passed. So it's like I have.
Okay, you're being totally non-responsive
So,
to
I'm not trying to be non-responsive.
I think you are. I think you're trying to deflect from my point, because I'm saying you either didn't believe it or you're not a reasonable mother.
And then I was like, okay, I'll take you to the doctor's. The urgent care, what time was it? It was.
No.
Sorry.
Stay with me here.
Okay.
You're in the moment. Your daughter says, "I've been poisoned."
I was watching her behaviors. That's all I was doing. I was like.
Okay, if you believed it, would a reasonable mother reach out for consultation and care?
Yes.
Are you a reasonable mother?
I try to be my best that I can.
And did you reach out for consultation and care?
I can't remember.
Okay, quick focus group. If you believed that your child had been poisoned, would you reach out for consultation and care? Raise your hand. Okay. Just checking. So if you had believed she was poisoned, you would have acted in a reasonable fashion. Correct?
Correct.
You told them that your ex-husband attempted to murder your oldest daughter. Did you put your daughter in a garbage bag and try to drown her in a bathtub?
No, sir.
And later, Sandra and Joey both agreed to take polygraph exams regarding allegations of sexual abuse. And the result was... Your daughter's told you that he wrapped her in a blanket, put her in a garbage bag, put weights in the garbage bag, then put her in the bathtub and turned on the water.
Well, she said it felt like Daddy threw me in the pool. And then my little one, because they weren't together, my oldest came to me, talking to me, and told me that story. And at this point, I didn't know what to believe. And then my little one came in, and she backed the story up 110%. And then I went to my neighbor. I go, "Can you talk to my girls?" And the girls told her the same story. And I did call the police. And I'm like, because we had a detective on the case, and they're like, it's best to talk to that detective. And then he sent me over to, he told me to call CPS, like, oh, well, that's CPS. So I went to CPS, nothing, like, nobody heard me.
So you called detectives and told them that your ex-husband attempted to murder your oldest daughter.
They didn't even let me get that far.
And nobody...
Like, it was like, oh, like, kind of like, on to the next one, on to, like, and it's by the time I got to CPS, they've coached your kids, blah, 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 and it's just like...
Okay, did you wrap your daughter in a blanket, put her in a garbage bag, put weights in the garbage bag, and try to drown her in a bathtub?
No, sir.
Look me in the eye.
No, sir.
Did you do that?
No.
Did you do anything like that?
Not even close.
Did you do anything similar to that?
No.
Did you threaten to do that?
No.
Did you describe doing that?
No.
Was there any time in a game, fantasy, fiction, that you had your daughter in a garbage bag?
No. No.
Then where does this come from?
It really comes from...
Because if you did that, they may not listen to her, but they will listen to me.
I agree.
And you will be prosecuted because you would deserve to be prosecuted if you did that.
I agree.
That is a crime.
Yes, sir.
And you're saying you did not do that?
I did not do that.
So where does that come from?
It really comes from Sandra's delusions. I mean, that's not the worst that she's accused me of. And,
What else is she accused
I
of?
heard that story, and I heard that it was rocks. I filled the trash bag full of rocks. I wrapped my older daughter in some kind of a princess blanket, and then I put her inside of a trash bag, filled up a bathtub full of water, and placed my older daughter inside the water, inside the trash bag. And then I heard that my younger daughter came and had to tear her out free, and that I punished my younger daughter for taking her older daughter out of the trash bag. That's what I heard.
Mm-hmm. And you're telling me you didn't do that?
Not even
Nothing
close.
like that?
Nothing like that.
How about not in a pool, not in a bathtub, not in a street, nowhere, no how, no way?
No, sir.
Well, you're exactly right. That's something that a child would have a hard time making up. So where would that come from?
I don't know. Like, everything that we watch at home is, you know, Barbie movies, Disney. We don't have cable. And what killed me the most about my youngest daughter is, like, I cut the ropes and strings. When she said that And then she's like, and then when
She cut the ropes and strings?
off of, because she heard a noise. And then she's like, I looked in the bathtub and there was a bag. And the way she said it was like all nonchalant. I was like, and at the end she goes, and then Daddy got mad and he sent me to the room. But I had an apple and a banana in my room, or an apple and orange. And I was just like it didn't even faze her, like, this is wrong.
What did she cut it with?
She said scissors. And originally she said, Dad, you know how Daddy doesn't let me go potty? And I go, yes. And she goes, he doesn't know I have a key hidden. And I'm like, okay. And then she goes, so I got the key and I went potty. And I'm like, all right, so what else happened? And she goes, and then I heard a noise. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, the water was running. And I go, well, what do you mean, baby? Tell me more. And she goes, well, I heard a noise. And so I looked in. And then what made me believe the story even more was just recently. Recently, my youngest goes, I wish I'd never been born. And my oldest daughter looked over and she goes, if you weren't born, who would have saved me? You saved my life. And there has been some time between the two incidences, because this was in July, end of July. And now we're in October. And so it was like, if it had been a fabricated story, she wouldn't have gotten so angry now, and she probably would have forgotten about it.
She got a key to the bathroom.
She has a hidden key.
My bathroom doesn't lock.
Well, I don't know. I don't go to your house. I don't know anything about it, and I don't care to go to your house or no. I just believe what my daughters tell me.
Okay.
I said neither of these two people actually wrote in. When we come back, the neighbor who did write in and says she just doesn't know who to believe. What she does believe is that these girls are not safe. We're going to talk to her next.
Sandra was sitting next to me on the couch, and the older girl told her mommy that her private parts were hurting her like bees were stinging her. I wrote to Dr. Phil because I feel like they're physically in danger. Sandra tells me the craziest stories about Joey with the girls. The stories are so bizarre that I just don't know who's telling the truth. I think they're both liars. The only time I've ever heard anything directly from the girl's mouth, and Sandra was sitting next to me on the couch, and the older girl told her mommy that her private parts were hurting her like bees were stinging her. I was so disgusted. He threatened to cut the girls up and cut one of the girls up, make the other girl watch. The older daughter said, my daddy said he's going to kill you and he's going to kill your cats. I would not be surprised if Sandra did something and said he did it. Just for the attention. I feel like all the anger and the fighting is coming to some kind of a head. I wrote to Dr. Phil because I feel like they're physically in danger.
Well, Linda, thank you for writing. I'm glad you did. You didn't have to do this. You could do as so many people do, mind your own business. You live in the same apartment complex, correct? Mm-hmm. So the girls come to your house a lot, your apartment a lot? Mm-hmm. Spend time with you a lot?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And the 9-year-old told you about the garbage bag in the bathtub?
Yes, she did.
And when she told you about it, was she upset?
No. I think it might have been a while after she originally said it, maybe like a couple weeks later, that she was telling me, not on the, in the moment.
Yeah.
But it was very, very matter of fact.
And you spend a lot of time together?
Yes.
The two of you. Do you go to their house or she comes to yours?
She comes to my house.
Okay. What does she talk about?
Joe and Joey and the girls, mostly. But we talk about everything, but that is the biggest thing that she talks about, mostly, especially because there's been so much court stuff. And when we really first started talking about it the most was last year when Joey got 50% custody, and before that he just had a couple nights a week. So when she came back from that hearing, she was just devastated. And I think since then it's just been a series of police, court stories.
Okay, she says that I talked to her about, is she a reasonable mother? She says yes. She says that the girls hate to go with their father. that they scream, cry, don't want to go with him. They cry. They hate to go there. They hate to be with their father, that they want to stay with her, that they don't ever want to go with him, that they love being with her, and that she's a good mother. You're here because you're concerned about the girls. Mm-hmm. You're not here for a popularity contest with either one of these two.
No.
You've taken the high ground, and I know that's not easy for you. You figure you're going to make at least one enemy, if not two, during this whole thing, but you're a guardian angel for these girls, and I admire your courage. What do you observe with regard to her mothering? Is she doing what she's saying she's doing, or are these girls being neglected?
As far as going to Joe's, I only see them not all the time when they go, but when they leave to go and when they come back, I don't ever see them upset or crying. They may be doing that at her house, but when they're at my house and it's time to go with Dad, they just go. They don't fight, they don't cry.
I'm talking to her.
And when they come back, they seem to be fine. I had some issues when my daughter was younger with her dad, and when she didn't want to go, she just threw herself on the ground and screamed like a baby. That is kind of what I expected to see, but I haven't seen that. I don't know what happens to her house, but at my house, I've seen them go with their dad and return from their dads numerous times, and I've not seen that reaction.
Coming up, Linda says Sandra is sleeping for 6 hours a day, leaving her to care for the girls. We'll talk about that next.
I think that Sandra doesn't know how to be a good mother. There's been numerous occasions where she just doesn't answer the door, and then I will go up there and bang on the door, think, oh my God, what if she's dead? Finally, she comes out. Oh, I thought you were Joey coming in to kill me. The girls have called me from Sandra's phone. Their mom had been sleeping all day, and they were hungry, and would I please call her because they were too afraid to wake her up. I've heard of at least 6 or 7 guys that have slept in her house. And when the girls wake up, they're still there. You're worried about your ex-husband touching your children, but you're not worried about these men in your house with your children. Sandra leaves the girls alone for hours. And I'll be like, you know, the girls have been up there for like 3.5 hours. Oh, they're okay, they're watching a movie. We don't have air conditioning in our buildings. This summer, it's over 100. And they were up there the whole summer, all day and all night. I just want to smack her. You're so irresponsible.
What do you say about that?
Okay, one, I don't, obviously I'm a woman, and I said obviously I'm a woman, I've been with people, but my kids don't meet whoever I'm with. Let me just start off with that one. And I talked to her about it as well. And secondly, they're not up there 3 hours alone, no. And actually, what was it, like a week or 2 weeks ago, my daughter did say, I don't want to go with my dad. What did she say? She said a bad word in between, I don't want to go with my daddy. And I looked over at Linda, and I was like, and then they left.
What she's saying on the tape is that the girls come get her to wake you up because they're going to get blasted if they do.
No, that's not.
She's saying that there have been 6 or 7 guys that you're bringing in the apartment with your daughters that are still there when they wake up, that you sleep instead of feed them, that they're stuck in that apartment 24/7, 100 degrees, there's no air conditioning in there, they don't go out anywhere, and that your excuse is that Joey's out there and he's going to kill everybody if you go outside. So they've got to stay holed up in the apartment all the time. No. You can't go outside because he's out there lurking and is going to kill everybody.
We get nervous when we do go outside. It's just well, I do get nervous. I'm very cautious when I go out and leave. But no, that's not all true, no.
Hasn't the school called CPS on you 3 different times?
They have not. They've called once on me and twice on him. They have called. Once when they were sick, one day they were both sick, and Linda asked, oh, are you going to go to the grocery store? I said, actually, I am. The girls are sick. I had to go, I forgot what I had to go grab. And then she's like, well, can you come grab my grocery list? I said, sure, no problem. Because we live right downstairs from each other. I was gone not even 5 minutes.
Haven't you had the girls tardy 17 times?
They've been tardy a lot, yes, they have.
And you told CPS that it's because...
Oh, no, that's not for CPS.
The little monsters and the principal, that the little monsters won't get up and get ready for school.
No. I do call them my little monsters, but I don't refer to them as that, no.
Linda, is that not exactly what happened?
This is what she says. I have asked her, why are you guys late for school all the time? And, well, we actually had a conversation about this. And she said, because they don't get me up. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, well, they're supposed to get up, get dressed, make their breakfast, and then they're supposed to wake me up. But they never wake me up in time. This is when I said to her, no, you're supposed to get up. You're supposed to get your kids up.
Why are they supposed to get you up?
No, that's not. No, because I wake up.
That's what you said.
No, that's what you told her.
No, I told her because, you know, they don't brush their hair. And then she did get on me for about brushing hair because I make them brush their hair first and then I brush their hair. And then...
You don't brush their hair.
Actually, I do.
Ever.
No, I do.
No, you don't. And you said to Linda, I don't brush their hair because they don't want to.
No, I brush their hair after they brush their hair.
Linda,
no, that was her, actually.
Have you seen these children in the same clothes 5 days in a row? Has she left them alone for hours while she's in your apartment?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
I said not hours.
It's hours.
Okay, what? You know, you comment on this stuff while the tape's playing, you're politicking her from the side.
Sorry.
While I'm asking her factual things, you're making comments from the peanut gallery on the side, like, no, it's not ours. Well, I can see. Well, I could.
Sorry.
Do you have an excuse? Do you own anything?
No, I do. I do own up to my faults and my flaws.
When the children come back from his house, are they clean?
Yes.
Is their hair washed and braided?
Yes.
Is their homework done?
Yes.
Are they in better physical hygiene and organization than they are when they're with her?
Yes.
How do you explain that?
Well, as far as like wearing the same clothes for 5 days.
No, that wasn't the question. The question was,
I can't.
they come home from his house, clean, clean clothes, washed, bathed, hair washed, hair braided, homework done, everything organized, in a good state of mind. But yet you say he's trying to drown them in the bathtub after he sexually molests them.
I'm only saying what my daughters tell me. Like, honestly, I have not fabricated any of the statements in which they have told me. I haven't.
Do you think that I'm physically actually capable of those things?
I don't know what you're capable of, Joe. Sorry.
Interestingly enough, today, our producer set 3 wake-up calls for you this morning. 6 a.m., 6:15, and 6:30. The producer checked in with you at 6:30 and confirmed you were awake.
Yeah.
The producer receives a phone call at 7:50 from our driver that you are still not in the car and not answering your phone. You were supposed to be in the car at 7:15. At 7:50, you're not in the car and you're not answering your phone. The producer calls your cell phone, the hotel, and the hotel room to find you, and you finally return calls to confirm you were in the car at 7:55, and you blame the hotel and, quote, your monster kids for being late.
I said my little munchkins. I didn't say monster, I believe.
No, you said monster kids.
Oh, no, I don't say I honestly, I'm not excusing it.
You came all the way here desperate for help. You're telling your children, this is our last chance. This is our chance to get out of this hellish life. This is our chance. And you can't get up on time, and you show up in the car an hour late blaming your, quote, monster kids?
Oh, no, it wasn't their fault. No, not at all. I told them... No, I'm saying...
I know it's not their fault. I'm curious that you don't know it's not their fault.
I know it's not their fault.
People get angry. People get frustrated. They say things they don't mean. We all say things we don't mean. I get that. We get frustrated, and I mean, how many times have we been cut off in traffic? Oh my God, I could just kill that guy. Have you gotten upset and said things like that in front of your daughters?
Yes, sir.
What have you said?
Sandra got me to the point to where I was so mad with all of our court proceedings, everything that's been going on, to withholding my kids, things like that. And I did, in fact, say with my daughters in the car, I just want to kill your mother. God, I just want to kill your mom. I did, in fact, say that.
Mm-hmm. You said it in anger?
Yes.
What else did you say?
That's all I've said around the children, that I wanted to kill their mother.
Did you say you wanted to kill them?
No, sir.
Did you say they were going to cut them up in little pieces?
No, sir. That's the first time I'm hearing that today.
Did you realize what you were saying when you said it?
Yes, and I recanted it immediately. I said I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I don't want to do that. And moved on.
How did they react?
They were a little bit uneasy. I saw the sadness in their eyes. You know, my daddy just said that he wanted to kill my mom. I saw that they were upset, and I made sure that I spoke to them about it, that I didn't mean it, and they in fact went to Sandra and told her that I said that. And she's brought this up in court. I was honest with the judge. I did in fact say those things, but they were out of anger.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how inappropriate is it to say that in your opinion?
Probably an 11.
Yeah, you get that.
I do.
Coming up, Sandra says the girls told her that their dad has touched them inappropriately. I'd like to get to the bottom of that, obviously, when we come back. You say these girls have reported to you that he is sexually molesting them.
Yes, that's what they have told me.
And so when she told you that, you took her to a pediatrician and had her examined for...
When she first told me that, it was, let's see, about 4 days after being home from Daddy's house. First thing I did was I called Linda and I asked her to talk to, you know, would you mind talking to the girls? Because I didn't want to accuse Joe of anything that wasn't true. So I had her just to see if the stories matched. And then I called the cops after that. And I also called my father as well. But it's just like, I didn't want, like, I'm not here to accuse anybody of anything.
Oh, no.
No, if they tell me something, it's like, I want to at least have the stories match. Like, did they say the same thing? And I talked to Linda, like, what did they say to you? And then she said, okay, she told me that. I'm like, okay. So then from there, I did call the cops.
Okay, and so did you have them examined by medical professionals? Do you have a rape kit done?
Well, CSI did come to my house. They took the underwears.
Is that a no?
And well, no, because they said they only been like.
I assume you then got forensic evidence and had medical professionals document that.
Because I have gone in the past. They've checked both of my daughters out, and they didn't see anything.
But once she reported scratches, I assume you had that documented.
She didn't have any scratches. That's the problem. It's like she...
Yeah, that is.
And even the police officers... No, because I asked the police officers because they were going to have the girls examined. And on September 3rd, he even said, well, I stroked their legs. And I've had them for...
No, wait. If you need to tell it, you need to tell the whole story. I've read the court record. Understand, I told you, this is what I do.
Definitely.
That's taken out of context. Put that in context.
My older daughter, she complains a lot with me when I had her overnight of leg pains. And to me, that is a growing pains. She's a growing girl, and I would rub the knots out of her legs. I would rub the knots out of her hips, and I would not stroke, but I would rub my daughter's legs. And after 10 minutes or so of doing that, the pain went away. And I admitted that in court.
Which I had no knowledge of.
What?
I had no knowledge of that at all.
Well,
and
was this in any inappropriate areas or?
No, sir.
And you were forthcoming about that?
Yes, sir. Sandra is coaching my children to make me look like a bad father.
I am not coaching my daughters to lie.
These stories are absolutely insane, and they keep getting worse. My daughters have told me that you've hit us in the face, holding them down in the bathtub or throwing them up against walls.
The stories that the girls come home saying are beyond insane, and there's no way I can even make them up.
Sandra's absolutely crazy, and she's making my kids believe these outlandish things about me, brainwashing them. She's manipulating my children, and it's disgusting.
Well, Sandra and Joey say they've been to court about 10 times fighting over the custody of their daughters. Let's look at what the court findings were just this past September. It stated that allegations were unfounded, no child abuse. Repeat allegations, strong elements of coaching by mother. Advises mother focus on parenting skills and co-parenting. Finds no domestic violence, orders 16 weeks of co-parenting classes, attend 3 classes a month. Note, Joey says he completed 1 set of parenting classes and is on the next set. Sandra has not taken any classes yet.
No, you're right, I haven't.
So, if I'm reading this right, the court finds strong elements suggesting coaching by the mother. Advises mother to focus on parenting skills and co-parenting. Orders co-parenting classes. So why did the court find strong elements of coaching by the mother?
Because when CPS did the report,
I'm sorry?
when CPS had done the report, which my daughters were like, oh, well, Daddy's friends with him. He did work there for 3.5 years. I had that, I wouldn't be surprised if he's friends with one of them. That's fine. Because everything I have brought to court, I eventually have had proof to back it up. And it may take a long time because it's not all at one time. And it's been that's the hardest thing I've had is it's taken me so long to gather all the evidence and the truth.
So you think you worked security?
I work security, yes.
What does that mean?
I'm a security officer. I've been in security for 10 years.
And so what did you do? What was your job?
For that specific location, my job was to make sure that people came in and out in a safe manner. My job was to make sure that no weapons came into the building.
Okay, so you were building security?
Yes.
Okay, so your theory is that because he was building security, that he had the sway to create a conspiracy with Child Protective Services that rose to the level of the family court system such that they ignored molestation, left 2 kids in the hands of a molester,
Honestly,
put together a story that you were coaching the kids up, entered it into court documents that a judge signed off on,
the case,
all because a security guard worked at the building.
One, in the past, he has had information about cases which he shouldn't have had.
Okay,
from CPS.
I'm just asking you, that's your theory.
No, and also, too, our CPS case was reopened. The court has not found him unfounded. Because he has admitted, when we walked into the courtroom, he started laughing.
No, actually, it is. At this point, the court findings as of September 3rd of this year.
We go back on the 22nd of this month.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
No, because the case was reopened on the 18th of this month as well. So, no, 18th of September. In my defense. Yeah. So, yes, we went in on the 3rd. On the 18th, 2 weeks after, because we were supposed to do mediation, the case was reopened.
Yep.
Somebody had reopened the case.
Yep. I'm glad that they did. So, you found no child abuse and coaching by the mother, but your theory is that that's a conspiracy.
I wouldn't put it past it's one of his friends watching out for him.
Okay.
Sandra.
No, stop.
Okay, no, I want to be sure I understand.
No, it's true, but that was the September 3rd. September 18th, we had gone back. And at this point in time, he admitted to the judge, yes, I was physically abusive. Before he's denied that all in the court documents. He's denied it, and it's taken me so long to just gather the proof.
Okay.
Gathering all that proof has been hard as heck.
Okay, but we're not talking about physical abuse with you. We're talking about with the children.
Yes.
We're talking about him molesting your children.
That case
Let's
was
keep
reopened.
our eye on the ball that matters the most.
Most definitely.
Is there a monster in these children's lives that is sexually molesting them? That's what you should be focused on.
When we went back on the 18th for mediation, she saw us that day, and she told us that the case was reopened.
You did not participate in the drug test.
In my defense, I know I don't like water. I'm not a big water person.
Did somebody write stupid on my forehead?
Joe has accused me of doing drugs.
It could explain her behavior. From the past, there's been a lot of methamphetamines. Those are the type of drugs that make her think delusional thoughts. I would love for Sandra to take a drug test.
I'm willing to take a drug test.
I really hope that it could be a huge part of all the things that she's conjuring up in her head. I'm absolutely scared for them to stay in her care if Sandra's using drugs again.
Okay, I tell you what I want to do is, I'm back with Sandra and Joey and neighbor Linda. There have been allegations of a lot of wrongdoing on both of your parts, and one thing that has come to light are drugs. There have been allegations of drugs, and so I wanted to take a hard look at whether or not there were drugs involved in this, because when I see bizarre behavior on people's parts, I'm real interested in whether or not there are any foreign substances being used, because it can really change the way we think and the way we don't. And both of you, when we booked you to come here, you said you would be completely and totally forthcoming. So one of the things I wanted to take a look at was whether illegal drugs were being used: marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamines, heroin, anything of the sort. So we had professionals here to do drug screens on both of you this morning. And so we did a drug screen on you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you cooperated fully, you participated in that. Was it done in a professional way?
Absolutely.
Any problem you had with it?
No problem.
So we completed a drug screen on you, and the result came back that you were negative for all substances. There was no drug use on your part whatsoever. You, of course, have questions about whether or not she is involved in any illicit drug use whatsoever, and you, of course, have agreed to be completely and totally forthcoming and tell the truth and participate, cooperate in everything, but you did not participate in the drug test.
In my defense, I had coffee, water, and a full juice, and I haven't gone to the restroom. So it's like I have to...
Well,
and we sat in there together, lady and I, and she ran the water.
We gave you water, we gave you coffee, we gave you soft drinks, and we waited 3 hours.
Yeah, no, I haven't. And I told her the same thing.
You refused to give a sample.
No, I didn't refuse to give a sample. I haven't had to go.
Well, you did not give a sample.
I did not give a sample. I didn't refuse because I sat in there with her, with a, and...
But you did not take the drug test.
I haven't taken the drug test, no, and I haven't had to use the restroom. That's a problem. And it's frustrating because I'm like, coffee normally goes through you. And I'm like, okay, let me have coffee. And because I know I don't like water, I'm not a big water person. So I downed originally a thing of juice. Naked, no. That's not funny.
I'm not laughing at you.
Okay.
Sandra, come
No,
on.
I'm not being honest. Like, no.
Did somebody write stupid on my forehead?
No, that's why I said in my defense, I've had coffee. The lady even knew, like, I told her, like, I felt so badly, and I was crying. Like, I got to the point where I was crying because it's like, I wanted to take the test just to clear my name because it's like, Joe has said this, and then he's recanted his statement in the past. Like, oh,
You also accused
Gotcha.
me and I took the test.
well, yeah, no, I just said, okay, why don't we both?
Okay, well, he took the test and you
Okay.
did not.
No, that's fine.
Prior to coming to the show, Sandra and Joey both agreed to take polygraph exams regarding allegations of sexual abuse. Obviously, the questions to Joey are going to be about inappropriately touching the girls, and to Sandra about is she coaching them when we come back. A proper polygraph, there's quite a pre-interview where you understand the meaning of all the terms and
sir.
everything. And I was really stunned by Sandra's comments about you're taking the polygraph, because I would have thought exactly opposite what she thought. She said if he passes, meaning that you did not molest your girls, she said, I would be heartbroken.
No, I'd be heartbroken if you
That's
did.
exactly what you said. That is exactly what you said, and it is recorded.
Well,
And I'm like, what? And I mean, I would have thought exactly the opposite, because it would mean your girls had not been touched. I would have thought you'd be like, wow,
no.
what a relief. But in your comment was, well, I think he would probably manipulate it in some way. I guess because he was a security guard.
No.
But in any event, you were asked about one issue, 2 questions. Jack, you wouldn't have proceeded with the test if you didn't feel like it was a proper protocol, correct?
Right, it was a good test.
And here were the questions. You were asked, have you ever touched either of your daughters for a sexual reason? And your answer was?
No.
The second question, since they were born, did you ever touch either of your daughters for a sexual reason? And your answer was?
No.
And the result was no deception. He was telling the truth. So, Jack, was this a close call?
Joey had a +7 on the particular scoring system that I used. In order for him to have passed the test, he would have needed a +2 or above, +3, +4, +5.
One of Sandra's theory is that he would have in some way manipulated this protocol, or you, or bought you off, or manipulated the protocol in some way. I'm guessing that that didn't happen.
Dr. Phil, when I was with the FBI, we received hundreds of hours of countermeasure training. That is, attempts by people from non-U.S. intelligence services trying to muddy the waters of the U.S. government polygraphs, CIA, FBI. Their lives depended on it. Of course, we went to countermeasure school to counter their countermeasures, and it's unlikely that anyone in the private sector would be able to muddy those waters enough for any federal examiner to be fooled or misled.
Did you detect any attempt on countermeasures on his part, or?
Not at all. Chart purity, everything went exactly as it's supposed to.
The questions designed for Sandra were, did you ever instruct either of your daughters to fabricate sexual misconduct allegations against Joey? And did you tell either of your daughters to make up allegations of sexual misconduct against Joey? Those were the questions designed for Sandra. How did that go?
Well, it didn't start off well, Dr. Phil. Sandra was led to the office where I was prepared to do the test. It was quiet, it was private. It was about 30 by 30, so there was plenty of room, minimal furniture. And as Sandra got to the room, she told the producers that she didn't want to be left alone in the room with me.
No.
And I explained that that was the way it had to be, and I agreed to leave the door open until we had to close it for privacy issues. But by that time, she would be more confident in the fact that I knew what I was doing and it was a professional meeting. She agreed to sit there and talk with me, and we spent about a half hour together.
So what happened?
Well, I had to slow her down on several occasions because she was speaking faster than I could understand. She began to cry within the first minute of our meeting and cried until I decided that she was not polygraphable. She was, what I need from an examinee is that they not move and breathe normally. And of course, if someone's sobbing and speaking 100 miles an hour, that's not going to fit the protocol that I demand.
So she did not complete the test?
She did not complete the test.
I did try to go back.
I'm sorry?
I said I did try to go back. Originally, I didn't know it was just going to be him and I thought that one lady, she was really sweet. I thought she was going to stay in there the whole time. And I was fine with that. And then when I found out it was just one-on-one alone, I get very, very nervous. Like, just being alone with a male. I'm not gonna lie. No. Especially when, one that I don't know in a closed room, I get very, and I don't doubt his credibility at all. I don't, and I never once did. And I even told them, they're like, well, why don't you calm down and then come back? And I'm like, okay. And I kept asking, are we gonna go back? Is he gonna talk to me? Is he gonna talk to me? And then there was no more time. And I did ask multiple times after, are we going to go back and talk to him? Because I wanted to get my name cleared because I know I haven't been coaching my daughters.
You know, I was nervous too.
And, well, have you been...
So bottom line, you didn't take the drug test, you didn't take the polygraph.
And I did down a lot of liquids for the drug test. I did. And I did ask to go back to take the polygraph test. I didn't try to get out of it. They just told me that I was too emotional and I couldn't take it because I had to be calm and relaxed. And it's not like I said, I wasn't trying to avoid it, neither one of them.
But the bottom line is you didn't take either one of them.
I didn't.
He took them both. Mm-hmm. And he passed them both. Mm-hmm. And you didn't take either one of them.
Again, and I wasn't trying to get out of them either.
But you did.
I didn't know you couldn't cry. I didn't know any of this. I don't know what goes in for a polygraph test. In my defense, I didn't know.
Well, we've dealt with you for 9 days, and the only time you broke down and cried was when it was time to take the polygraph.
That is not true. I also broke down on the phone.
Who should have custody of these children? What is in the best interest of these girls? I'll tell you what I think when we come back. When it comes to human functioning and figuring out why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do, I think I'm pretty good at that, and I've devoted my whole life to it. And I'm going to tell you what I think here. I think when you guys split up, you've kind of gotten obsessed with the breakup. Not necessarily with him, but just the breakup. And I think whenever you got in a court situation and he got way more custody rights here than what you figured, particularly given some of his erratic behavior in the past and his anger issues, it just kind of undid you. And it really upset you. And I think you've gotten pretty obsessed with it. And do you want to talk? Because if you want to, because you can't be listening and trying to decide what you're going to say at the same time. And if you don't want to listen to what I have to say, I'm happy to just say goodbye and move on. Because you're going to go to court real soon, and I guarantee you they're going to tell you what I'm getting ready to tell you. But if you hear it from me, you can do some things between now and then, because if you don't, you're getting ready to get the shock of your life. Because I'm telling you, I've been that guy that you're getting ready to see in court, and they're getting ready to shock you like you won't believe. Because if you were coming into my courtroom, if I was the expert advising that court, I would terminate you as a parent. I would terminate your rights because you are guilty of parent alienation. You've coached your children, you have planted things in their mind, you have neglected the children, and you have brought men into your apartment, and the likelihood of your children being molested by a man are 33 times normal when you have non-biological males in their space. So you are putting them in harm's way with the choices you are making. So you are behaving in a negligent fashion. You are putting them in harm's way. You are alienating them from their father. And the court's already decided that you're coaching them. And you're saying, oh, well, they've reopened the case. Be careful what you wish for. Because this could go really badly for you. On the other hand, if you get honest with yourself and you decide, I need to stop this ridiculous obsession here, I need to pull myself together as a mother and figure out a co-parenting plan with their father, and we need to go into court and have a plan that we present where we come together, I'll guarantee you, you're going to negotiate a whole lot more than that court's going to give you. And you can hear that from me, or you can get the bad news standing in front of the bench. You need to make a negotiation. You need to mediate something with their father. And you need professional help. And I don't say that in an ugly way. I say you need that to help you because you're having a lot of anxiety. And you need to get past that. I am totally 100% convinced you blew up that polygraph on purpose. I'm totally 100% convinced that you avoided that drug test on purpose. And you can say no, 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 no till the cows come home, and you won't convince me to the contrary. A grown woman can pee in 6 hours. And you can call my bluff because I'll give you that drug test now, and I'll give you that polygraph exam now. And we can find out whether you're telling the truth or whether you aren't, because we'll do that right now. Well, we're back with Sandra and Joey and neighbor Linda. Again, Linda, I thank you so much for writing in, because it's all about these two young girls. I strongly believe in family reunification. Those children need to be with their biological mother. They need to have a relationship with you. They need to have a relationship with their biological father. That is good public policy. That is good family policy. I don't want you away from your children. I want you healthily in your children's lives. But to do that, you've got to clean your act up and stop so narcissistically believing that you can pull the wool over people's eyes. You have greatly underestimated my ability to see through what you're trying to put out there. And so will anybody that gives a casual bit of attention to what's going on here. The court is not buying you. I've read the court documents, and whoever adjudicates this next is going to read those court documents. They're going to see that those before them have said you're coaching. The school has called CPS on you. Others have called CPS on you. You are building a track record you don't want. You have not gone to parenting classes that were ordered, and you're going back into court having not done what the court ordered the last time you were there. Judges don't like people thumbing their nose at them. I told you to do this. Since you were here last time, did you do what I told you? No. Okay. You're just slapping the judge in the face. That's not smart. You don't do that. You don't disrespect the robe. They take the people wearing those robes take it real seriously. and you're going back in there. I'm just trying to, if you were my patient, if you're my client, I would advise you like I'm advising you right now. If I get you some professional help, will you take it? If I get you someone to broker some co-parenting mediation between the two of you, will you do it? If you don't, you are going to be real disappointed with what the court rules. And be damn glad you didn't walk into a courtroom where I was the advisor. Be glad you're talking to me now where you fix it before you get there. If you have a brain in your head, you will continue that court hearing and give yourself a chance to comply with the former court orders, get with a mediator, put something together here, and get yourself under control. If you do that, you've got a chance of preserving the integrity of this family. If you don't, you're in for the shock of a lifetime. And you're going to be real pissed off at her because she has said some unflattering things about you. You ought to walk out of here and give her the biggest hug you have ever given because she saved you from a major train wreck. She saved you from a major train wreck.
I'm not angry with her at all.
Well, you should not be. I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Jack Tremarco. On drphil.com, we'll have some important tips for parents divorcing so that your children's needs come first.